Todd, did you send the budget document or Nandini?
You guys are live.
So Nandini, I think, has sent that, right?
Okay.
Right. But each member has it.
The budget, is that the same as the item 7 in the materials?
Yeah. Number 7.
The 5-year budget?
It is a 5-year budget in a PDF file. Do you want me to resend it?
Yeah.
Just one
Yeah,
page.
so I think members have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's call this meeting to order. I think mine's running a little fast. Everybody have 5:05 as a meeting time? Close enough?
Yep.
Okay. Any disclosures of direct or indirect pecuniary interest?
None.
No. Seeing none. Mr. Secretary, any preliminary matters that we need to go through at this time?
None.
None. Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Member Rose?
Second, Ken.
Ken, thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. So there is nothing to rise and report on from our in-camera meeting that we had. We had an in-camera meeting from 4 to 5 o'clock. So this is the public session. And we are already into open, which will bring us to item 7 on the agenda. And that is the 2021 Orangeville Police Services budget as presented by our town treasurer, Nandini. Are you going to, so Dan, are you sharing the document on the screen or you will?
I'll share, Mr. Chair, if that's okay.
Great, thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through Mr. Chair to board members, if you just give me 1 second, I will bring up the budget on my screen. And if someone could confirm if you can see my screen right now.
We can.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So, okay. So it's fairly straightforward and uncomplicated. So one of the things that I should point out, due to the transition from OPS to OPP, Police Services Board budget will be presented with boards and committees within our budget document. So just a quick housekeeping. So in keeping with our 5-year operating budget, you are looking at PSB's 2021 through 2025. The biggest thing that's happening is in 2021, we are increasing, and that we have done in consultation with the board chair, we're increasing the professional fees by $100,000. And the justification behind that is since we are wrapping up the transition process between OPS to OPP, there may be some residual legal services required for the year 2021. So that's one of the reasons you're seeing the delta between 2020 and 2021, and then it tapers off in the outer year. So that is really the only significant thing or significant line item that I felt that I could highlight. Other than that, it's a very consistent budget year over year. The envelopes fairly remains the same between 163,000 onward. If the board has any specific question vis-a-vis the budget, then I would be more than happy to answer that.
Member Brown?
I'm curious, past 2021, why there are professional fees at all.
So through the chair to Member Brown, professional fees is one of those line items that we maintain, not just for PSB budget, for various divisional budget throughout the organization. It's very much like insurance and legal fees. So again, historically, this is a line item we have maintained. The only difference in 2021 is we're increasing that budget by 100,000. So again, the subsequent years or the outer years, we're just going back to the standard or the historical envelope that we maintained.
But history has changed. We are no longer running a police service. We are contracting out a police service. Legal issues will not be dealt with by us. They'll be dealt with by OPP. So I asked the question, why are we continuing that budget item?
Madam Treasurer, is there any, it's probably out of your realm of expertise to speak to it. It was a contingency item. Is that what you're?
Yes, and I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to impress to this board. It is a contingency item. And again, I don't wish to speak on behalf of the board, but there may be matters within the board that would require legal services, and I'm trying to be as high level as possible in regards.
We've had our fair share already. We don't need any more. So I'm being somewhat facetious here, but I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, part of the reason for moving to OPP was to get away from all of the nonsense that's gone on in the past. And I just, I don't know, maybe Member McSweeney's a lawyer. Maybe you could weigh in. What are you foreseeing as a possible reason to have legal fees of this nature going forward, Mr. McSweeney?
Well, before I answer that, just to give me context, Nandini, can you tell me, just using 2020 or 2019 as an example, what is the experience versus budget in those years on that line item?
Okay, so 2019 and 2020 are a bit of an anomaly in terms of, we have seen a lot of action, so to speak. But I would say we do spend, or I should say PSB did spend that money consistently over the period of last 5 years. And in most cases, in other divisional budget, we try to maintain the legal envelope. I do see Member Brown's point, but I can only speak from a financial perspective, from a risk management perspective, and from a budgetary principle perspective. If the board wishes to remove that item, then they can, by all means, give me that direction.
Yeah. I'm just, I'm trying to.
Brown, if we could, just as I just want to make sure that we're still running the meeting as opposed to Robert's rules.
Yeah, through you, Chair Taylor, if I can rebut, collective bargaining agreements are no longer part of the Police Service Board's mandate. Human resources issues as they relate to members of the police service are no longer part of the Police Service Board's mandate. So again, I don't see that this is historical in any way. We've had a complete change. We are outsourcing our police service to the OPP. Any internal matters of human resource matters with their members are dealt with by OPP. They will not be brought before this board, from what I understand. So I question why that level of legal fee or professional fee is being carried forward. Again, the money's not being spent, but I just don't see a point in having it there. So there you go.
Board members, I wonder if it might make sense. So for people who are watching, what we're talking about with professional fees is legal fees. And there has been legal fees throughout the history of the Police Services Board as we deal with our police association. There will be for 2021 residuals from previous years that we need to have a contingency there for. And I think the 2021 line makes sense. My suggestion would be is for 2022 and onwards, I do take Member Brown's point, and hey, you wonder, I don't think we know, but you wonder if that's too much of a contingency, but there probably should be something there, and we should be open about that and share that with council as they'll approve this budget, that there is a contingency in there, and we're just not certain what the future will bring. But there should be something in there, at least in 2022 and potentially 2023, and you would hope as you get further out, to your point, Member Brown, that is fairly close to zero. I see Member McSweeney would like to speak on this topic. Yeah,
so I agree with what Member Brown and the chair has just said. I think that to Member Brown's point, what we need is a change in the budget from 2022 forward as a directional indicator. So I don't know what the right number is. 55 is too much because it shows the status quo from the past, and there's been a sea change in terms of the expectation there. So I don't know whether it's 20,000 or 10,000 or something going forward from 2022. It can always be revisited when we get closer to the mark, but I think at this point that communicates that we recognize the change in circumstances and yet want to hold something in reserve.
Okay, thank you, Member McSweeney. Member Brown?
Yeah, I wonder if somebody could give me a breakdown of the compensation line, specifically the 2021 compensation line.
Did you want to finish this issue first, Member Brown? With I agree, we need to go to compensation and just to understand it. But do you want to finish professional fees first?
I mean, I would recommend, I guess, on professional fees, a reduction in that item. I just don't see the point of having it out there if, in fact, most of the issues that were previously dealt with Police Service Board that were litigious or required legal counsel have been removed. Why we would carry that forward as the same number. So,
if it pleases board members, I could make a motion if that would be all right. I would make the motion that for 2021 we accept the recommendation of the town treasurer at 155,000. In 2022, I would recommend that we leave the contingency at 55, and then we step down significantly and move to, say, 20,000 in 2023, and potentially even leave 2024 and 2025 at 0, because by that point we would be done. Anybody want to second that or revise it?
Yeah, I wouldn't go to 0. I would leave it, there's some nominal amount there as a placeholder, but otherwise I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to 0 too. I'd keep it like 5 or 10.
Sure. Friendly amendment to say 10,000 in 24 and 25?
I'll move that.
Very good. So I guess you'd be seconding that, Ken?
Yep.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor for 155.55. Do we go to, I know the last 2 years were 10. Sorry, what was 2023? Is it
20,000.
20,000, thank you. So 20, 10, 10.
I would second that.
Very good. All in favor?
yes.
Yes. Okay, so that is for professional fees. And then, Member Brown, you were going to ask a question about compensation, and I think we need to just understand that line a little bit. Did you?
Yeah, I'm from my understanding, we have the 5 board members. We receive a payment. I think I haven't looked at my bank statement lately, but it's in the range of $600 or $700 a month, I believe. There are some special meetings from time to time, but you know, we're talking about 7,000 to 8,000 per member. Let's say 8 times 5 is 40,000. Our secretary is around 15,000. So I'm curious where the rest of the money is required.
So it used to be, well, there was some other items in here. Is there still other items in this moving forward, Ms. Syed?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. And you are right to the extent that, yes, the compensation, the overall compensation package hasn't changed too much. I do believe there are some benefit items also built into that. If you want, I can send you a detailed version of that, Member Brown, so that I'm not going through individual information on open session. If the board wishes, through the board chair, I can provide some further details on that particular line item.
I think that'd be very appropriate. Would you be able to share it with each board member through email?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Via email, I should be able to do that.
And I understand where you're going with that. There is private information that is embedded in that number because it's salaries, right?
That's correct.
I'm not worried about my own salary. I'm happy for people to know what I make, but it's personal. So I get that. So if we could have that, I think that would help us with understanding. Just could you answer generally though? Do you know why we go from, like, why do we go down to 75? Who did we finally kick Member Brown off the board, or what was there?
No, no. So I think I've included a note there. It says treasurer's note, variance in compensation envelope between 2021 to 2022 is due to 3 individuals that fall off from the retirement benefits.
Oh,
at
I
the
see.
end of Yeah, so I tried to provide as much as detail I could without, contravening any HR law or.
No, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
So once again, if the board requires more detail for that particular line, I would be more than happy to supply that via email.
Yeah, Ms. I think we would if we could. That would be great. And Ms. Syed, when will this go to council? Like, if we had that information from you via email, would we still have time as a board in early January just to have one more discussion? And I'm not sure we would require yourself at that time, but I think what the board wants to do is just feel good that we've approved a budget and we're saying to council that we stand behind the budget. And, and if we were asked a question, we'd be able to answer that question. And I think that's where we're all kind of going from here. Will we have time or no?
So the straightforward answer is no, because I'm required to table the budget on January 18th. And as a council member, you're already aware of that. That means the budget document has to make it to the clerks no later than the first week of January. That also means that we have to finalize budget numbers literally this week. Now, that being said, you have made amendment today in terms of the professional fee line. During a budget deliberation, council also has the ability to provide further direction on any given line item or any divisional budget. So perhaps if this requires further discussion, maybe that is something that can be addressed at the time. And again, I leave that as a friendly suggestion to you.
Okay, thank you. Member McSweeney, if I could ask you a question before you go, I believe that the board, if we had the information from our fine treasurer, we could have an email alignment. Can we not?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
So why don't we do that? We'll accept it, and if there is, accept the information, the additional information from the treasurer, and if there is concerns, we can come to resolution via email on this and provide that feedback to the treasurer prior to January 18th. Much prior, because I know.
Well, this week.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, let's get it done, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Member McSweeney, do you want to speak on this?
My question was to the treasurer, just wondering what breakdown information are you giving us? Are you giving us the categories or the historic data, like 2020, 2021, and 2022, like to make up those compensation numbers?
So if through the chair to Member McSweeney, so if I understood Member Brown's ask, and Member Brown, please feel free to correct me, he was looking for the breakdown of the compensation number, because really on the document in front of you is just a rolled up version. So what I would be providing to you is what does that make up, like what the breakdown looks like. So it will show compensation for X number of members equals to this. Compensation for the executive assistant is that. Any benefits equals to that. So it will kind of show you all the broken down numbers. So you can see the components, the different components. Am I providing you historical data? If you wish, I would, but I'm not sure how that would, help.
That would be 2020. So yeah, so the historical data I was inquiring about was 2020.
Oh, 2020, yes, definitely.
So that sounds fine, Mandy.
Okay.
Well, that's great. Okay, so I guess the final here is we're going to have some more information sent to us, and at this time we're not going to pass it. We will simply receive the information, and we will do next steps through email proclamation. Correct. So can I have a motion to receive this document, please?
So moved.
Ken, and seconded by Mary. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Nandini, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you joining us, and sorry to eat into your evening, but thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Okay, everyone, so good discussion. We're going to move on to item 8. And item 8, candidly, it's if you think back to the discussions that we had as a town, there was concern about paid duty and how that would all work. And there was some questions that I had personally about paid duty, and just some discussions that myself and Nikki had. And she was just going to provide us with how paid duty works, and how the public, I guess, should view paid duty as well as we move forward. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. So how paid duty works versus volunteering. So for the OPP to enter into a paid duty, we have to have an agency ask us or contract with us to hire the officers outside their regular working hours. So for instance, if there is we quite often get paid duty requests from Ontario Hydro or from whoever the local hydro provider is, or perhaps another utility. And what they'll do is they'll ask us if we can provide them with 1 or 2 officers to assist with traffic control while they do a repair or for example, the traffic lights at an intersection per se. So they fill out a request for a paid duty, they enter into a contract with us, they agree for a rate of pay plus administrative fee and the fees for the cars. And then it's posted into the detachment, and an officer signs up that they would be interested in taking that paid duty on their day off. So if they're selected, then they attend, they work the paid duty, and then they submit a daily activity report that they did a paid duty, and the money is recovered through the Ontario Treasury Board. Volunteering. So I think what we're talking about is incidents such as Toys for Tots. So when we sign up for Toys for Tots, we sign up on our own time. The auxiliaries will come out, or officers will come at the beginning or the end of their shift, or come in on a day off. For example, last weekend there was a constable each day that came on their day off, as well as 2 or 3 auxiliary officers that came out for the paid duty. What will also happen during those paid duties is that if officers are on duty working and there's no calls for service and they have a break from proactive work, they may come out and stand with the officers at the Toys for Tots location, and they may give a break, a coffee break or a washroom break or a lunch break to the officers that are there. And they'll stay, but they monitor their radio. And if they get a call for service, then they leave. They're never there for the entire 6 hours. They're not assigned to be there during working hours. It's not an incident for them. So that's the difference between a paid duty, which is a contract to an outside agency, not to the OPP, and not to where am I going with this? So it's an outside agency that contracts with us. In the past, over the years, it's changed over time. When I first became a police officer, we did a number of paid duties that we don't anymore, because they don't fall within our core function, and our core function, of course, is policing. So we would do funeral escorts, or do a paid duty at an event where there was alcohol being served, and we very rarely do those anymore. So pretty much what we do for paid duties now, you'll see the occasional movie shoot. The reason that we're there at a movie shoot is to control traffic. And as I said, we do the paid duties for construction on the highways. For example, on the resurfacing of Highway 89 all summer, there were days when they were at intersections that we supplied paid duty officers to control the traffic.
That's great. Member Brown, did you have a question?
Yes, I just, during the lead up to the council decision to go with the OPP costing proposal, there was questions about paid duty at some of our in-town events, such as the Blues and Jazz Festival or Ribfest. Can you comment on availability of officers for those events? Is there a time frame prior to the event that one must book OPP officers, or are you not available at all for those types of events?
We would be available for this, like a security paid duty at an event like that. We do road closures for access to places like Fiddle Park and Shelburne. We would assist with road closures if they're OPP jurisdiction roads. I would suggest that a paid duty request be made by the organizer well in advance if they know the date, because a lot of these events happen on long holiday weekends or in the summertime when the officer's time is in demand and it's high vacation season. So, you know, a month, 6 weeks in advance, if the operator doesn't get the approved insurance coverages in time, we can't do a paid duty without that. So I would say as much lead time as possible.
Great. And could I have one more follow-up, Chair Taylor?
Yes, please.
I believe it was the summer of 2019, Acting Inspector Randall, that the Alliston Potato Festival was on the front pages of the paper, claiming that OPP was unable to provide a paid duty, and that was the reason that the festival had to be canceled. You know, I did some digging on my own. It turned out that that particular promoter had a history of problems, not only with this event but others. My guess is that they did not make the request to you with sufficient time to schedule officers. Do you have any background on that particular incident?
No.
Okay, is that your jurisdiction? Okay,
Yes,
fair enough. All the best.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Nikki? No. I just want to be transparent with anyone who may be watching this and to fellow board members. So this was brought to me by a citizen who was concerned that there was OPP officers at Toys for Tots. And in my discussions with Nikki, she's made it very clear that there was no paid duty for that event, and it's out of the goodness of the hearts of OPP officers that they're there. And I wanted this brought forward because I wanted the public to know that the officers are caring and participating in our community, and they're not receiving funding, which is important to know. Okay, so can we have a motion, board members, to receive this item, please?
So moved.
Brown?
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so item number 9 is the RIDE grant, and presentation by Nikki again, just sharing a little bit about the RIDE grant information.
Mm-hmm. So you received through the town, I would believe, the RIDE reporting template for the 2020 to 2022 RIDE grant. So what that document is it's a compilation of the dates and times that RIDE was performed using the grant money that's allocated every year to municipalities who apply for the grant money. And this form will be filled out at the end of the season. The RIDE grants run from roughly the first week in November through to the 31st of March. And then after the 31st of March, an administrative member of our detachment she compiles the RIDEs every time one comes in. She starts working on this template so that the end of March, the template is pretty easily completed. And then it's submitted to the town for their review, and you will receive a copy of it as well. And then it's returned to the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and they do their balancing or what do you call it when you, starts with R. You compare what you were given to what you spent.
Reconciled.
Thank you.
Very good. Jeopardy.
Exactly. So our RIDE grant program is underway. We have been able to fill quite a few RIDE grant paid duties, as well as our normal everyday RIDE. And just so you're aware, Dufferin detachment members have in the past, well, all OPP members are required to, each platoon is required to conduct at least one RIDE tech program per shift when operationally able. So that's outside of the RIDE grant. The RIDE grant is above and beyond our normal RIDE programs. So we have them, and the ride grants are very helpful for us because we can make them strategic, and we have them sometimes at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning or 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning to intercept those people who may think that an hour or two of sleep is sufficient after having a night of imbibing. And this year will be, I think, substantially different because there won't be the number of office and workplace Christmas parties. So we've just tweaked our hours a little bit more to be a little bit more through the day and in the early evening hours.
Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you for that. Nikki, any questions on that, board members? No? Okay, excellent. I have a motion to receive item 9. Member Brown, Member Rose, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, item 10, and I believe this was forwarded to us by Mayor Brown. There was a presentation that was done in Caledon area on fraud and just some things that we can learn. And I don't know, Nikki, is this something that we would want to do an elongated thing on, or is it enough to just cover it here in this meeting?
Well, I think we can just cover it here in this meeting.
Okay.
I think I'm looking at a different email I had. I thought we were going to discuss something different. But as far as this, the presentation, there was a lunch and learn that Caledon OPP hosted. And as soon as I saw their announcement that they were having it, I went right to the organizer and said, can we have one too? So we will be hosting a lunch and learn in relation to frauds, probably the second or third week of January. And we were just looking for a host agency for it, and we think we've secured the host agency for it. So we'll go direct with the 2 officers that work in the serious fraud office of the OPP. It's them that will be making the presentation. And as soon as we have the details nailed out or hammered down, then we'll make an announcement and we'll let you know as well.
That's great. And my apologies, Nikki, you were correct and I was wrong. I confused the issues. It's the same subject matter, but it's the drive centers and fraud happening at drive centers as well, which has been an issue. So my apologies.
Yeah, no problem. So I was reading this email in regard to the drive centers, and I can see the concerns that the gentleman has from Hillsburg in regard to people from the communities south of us who are in lockdown coming up here to do drive testing, and then trying to circumvent the system by making changes to their addresses and whatnot. So if we were to get a complaint, a specific complaint from one of the drive test centers in regard to a specific incident, then we would investigate it. But at this point in time, there's not really a mechanism for us to audit that, and it's really not it doesn't involve our agency. Does that make sense to you? So without, I don't want to publicize the workaround for it, yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I understand. Member Brown, did you want to speak to that?
Well, I just wanted to share another thought, and that was, there's another significant reason why people change their address to an Orangeville address, and that is because our insurance rates are considerably less than Brampton. And I have heard anecdotally that does happen. And I don't know how one can monitor that, but Nikki, have you found that to be true or not?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So how we enforce in the OPP as far as license address goes and vehicle registration goes, the only thing that we would enforce is that if somebody has made a move, that they change within the correct amount of time. For example, they have 6 days to change over their vehicle license plates and their address on their license. With the changes to, like with the pandemic and all of the extensions that were given in regard to driver's licenses and license plate registration stickers and whatnot, it's very difficult for us to say because people wouldn't necessarily change their license, their address. And then we would just, how do you verify where the people actually live?
Yeah, okay. Good point. Yeah, I hadn't heard that on the insurance. You learn something new every day. Doesn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Board members, motion to receive item 10. Member Brown, Member Rose, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. So this one's interesting. It's the dreaded rite of passage in Orangeville. and that is our winter parking rules start December 1st and go to March 31st. And again, those rules are in place to allow for the clear plowing and just general safety of our streets. And over the years, we've had issues enforcing this. And so the question was put to Nikki about what her and her team were doing in terms of enforcement. And there was a elongated explanation, but I just thought I'd turn it to you to share how the OPP is handling it and how we as citizens can best handle this.
Yeah. So we do enforce the parking bylaws. We have parking tickets for all of the municipalities in Dufferin County, with the exception of Shelburne right now. And we have ongoing concerns in other municipalities in regard to winter parking and new residents to the community not understanding what the parking restrictions are, or understanding what the parking restrictions are and having come from another place where it's not necessarily enforced. They will park on the street until such time as they receive a ticket or are held responsible to move their vehicle. So as far as enforcement goes, we do active enforcement if time permits. Most of the time, what we'll do is we respond to a complaint or a telephone call from the local roads department who is trying to clear the roadways and trying to clear the sidewalks. And what we'll do is attend, and we will either tag the vehicle, or if possible, we may knock on the door and have people move their car. We always work from an education first standpoint. So we may go during the daytime and knock on the door and discuss with residents their responsibilities as far as being off the street overnight during the no parking hours and the reason for that. And if it's we have had occasions where it's been a consistent problem, and to get the road clear, we have towed vehicles as long as it's posted that the vehicle can be towed. And in town, there are 2 new bylaw officers that were trained and are out working right now, and they work shifts, they work afternoons and evenings, and we work in conjunction with them. So they have the telephone number for the sergeant. And they can call the sergeant if they have an issue or a concern, or ask for advice, or pretty much, ask for backup if they think that they need backup. So fairly robust, and it doesn't always work 100%, but we do our best to make sure that we can get the streets cleaned and that we can, have people understand why the bylaw's in place without laying down the hammer too hard the first time.
That's great. It is not a popular bylaw, but it's a necessary bylaw. So, yeah, I appreciate that. And certainly we appreciate our bylaw officers and the extra 2 individuals that the town has hired to enforce. Okay, members, could I have well, actually, first of all, my apologies. Anybody have a question on that or a comment? No? Seeing none, can I have a motion to receive that document, please?
I'll move, Ken.
Ken, Member Brown, second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. So that brings us to item 12, and kind of an interesting turn of events on this one. So the background on this is a labor seminar was set up for PSB members, and Vice Chair McSweeney agreed to go and represent our group at this. There was a cost to the seminar of $339, and the benevolence of our member, he has decided that it was more beneficial to him and less beneficial to the board, and he felt that he should pay for this out of his own pocket. So the bill came in, and Mr. McSweeney paid the $339 payment on his own. I don't think there's anything here for us to do unless you vehemently disagree with that assessment. It wasn't something that was put forth by myself. Chair McSweeney arrived at this decision on his own and followed through and has paid the bill. So if anybody wants to comment, please feel free to do so.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
How embarrassing.
I know it's a funny thing to put onto a board deck, but it's involving money and bills that came to the Police Services Board, and I think we all need to know, and it needs to be public record. So anyway, we appreciate you doing that, Member McSweeney. It's very professional of you to do so. So a motion to receive. You just broke up a little bit there. Sorry, probably a very sarcastic comment, but
No, I was just thanking you for the thanks.
oh, good. Oh, good. Appreciate that. So, board members, could I have a motion to receive item 12?
So moved.
Member Rose, Member Brown, all in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, item 12 is two parts. Did you want to do them both together or separate?
Of the policing grant,
Yeah.
item 13.
No, membership.
Membership, the
12.4.
membership.
OAPSB. Mhm.
Sorry, guys, I apologize. Everybody's breaking up just a little bit.
The Ontario Association of Police Service Boards membership renewal was part 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Does anybody want to speak to that membership portion? No.
I'll just say that we have traditionally belonged to the OAPSB, and I'm glad to see that we are continuing, and I would recommend that we continue that for 2021.
Right.
Very good.
I would second that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Member Brown. All in favor of Member McSweeney and Member Brown's motion? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so that brings us on to item 13, which is the Community Safety and Policing Grant, and an update by Nikki on this one.
I'm not sure what I'm updating, just that we submitted it with the amendments and it was.
I think that's it. I mean, it's a fairly straightforward document, right? It's something that's done on a regular basis, and it should be part of this record.
Correct. Yeah. So, and we had there were just a slight bit of tweaking that had to be done to it in regard to the use of the health IM, which the OPP doesn't license the health IM, and so the change in the funding went and was turned back into training for officers, different training sessions for officers, and the difference I think was about $800, and we'll cover that. The OPP will cover that $800 difference.
Very good. Okay, members, any questions? No, seeing none. Can I have a motion to receive, please?
So moved.
Member Rose?
Second.
Yeah, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay, so that's item 13. So item 14 is kind of exciting. The background on this is there was recently interviews conducted for the Dufferin County Detachment Commander, and each board within the county put forward a member who would represent that police services board, and our member was Member Brown. And Member Brown, do you wish to share the day and what you learned?
Yeah,
and
it was an interesting meeting. I think it was December the 8th. We met at the Primrose Detachment. There were 5 prospects for the Detachment Commander position. There were 7 members of the interview panel, including 5 PSB members, Chief Superintendent Dwight Peer and Superintendent Jim Smith. All 5 of the OPP officers were very experienced, very good candidates. The panelists were asked to score each of the interviews 40 points, 10 points per interview question, and that information was turned back into Superintendent Smith at the end of the day. The total scoring for the Detachment Commander position was based on the OELD. Nikki, can you help me with what that stands for again? OELD? Forget now. It's essentially a biography of their,
operational experience and learning and development.
There you go.
Nice.
It's a 5 or 6 page document that the candidate puts together, their leadership qualities, their experience, awards and recognition that they've got in their career. And as I said, all 5 of these particular candidates were very experienced officers, all with over 20 years police experience. The way the decision is taken, though, is 40% is with respect to their biography, the OELD that they put forward, 40% through the interview marks, and 20% from the references that they provide and are followed up with after the interview session. And within a few days, the result came forward, and Acting Inspector Terry Ward was selected as the new detachment commander here. Mr. Ward, again, very experienced officer, is I think working in the Wasaga Beach area right now, has had experience in Collingwood, Blue Mountains, and also Grey Bruce as well, and originally from Markdale, and seems like a great selection by the OPP selection committee. I believe this goes right up to the commissioner's level, does it not, Nikki? Right. So
yeah, it's put forward for they score everybody's applications. They pick the winning candidate or the candidate that's been selected, and then it goes forward to the commissioner, and the commissioner reviews it, and then the announcement's made.
Right. So it was you know, I was honored to represent our PSB in this area, in that group, and as I said, lots of excellent candidates. Mr. Ward rose to the top and was selected. So looking forward to working with him. The whole group here is, of course, and as I understand it, Acting Inspector Randall is going to stay on for a little bit of overlap time to show Mr. Ward the ropes, so to speak.
Very good. Member Brown, thank you so much for representing our board. That was a full day of your time, and it's time well spent, and we appreciate you. So thank you for doing that. And Nikki, are you able to share just a little bit about what is the overlap plan and a kind of a timeline and that sort of thing? What's the details on that?
Yeah, so I got the notification this afternoon that January 11th has been the day that's selected for Terry to come over. So Terry and I have already started consulting on the detachment and items going forward, and I'll stay probably for another couple of weeks at least. My goal is to stay and make sure that he's comfortable with the transition of Shelburne, as we know that's coming up, and so what I'll do in the interim, I'm going to take 2 weeks off over Christmas time, I'm off this Friday. And during that time when I'm at home, I have a list started already of points that he'll need to be aware of. And I'll be able to provide him that document for reference even after I'm not here anymore. But the OPP, it might be a great big organization, but it's a small world when you need to find somebody. So he knows I'll only be a phone call away after I leave here.
Very good. Well, we look forward to that. So would Mr. Ward join us in January with the two of you, or would just he join us for a January board meeting? How would that?
No, I'll come for the next one or two. Yeah.
Oh, very good. We can't get rid of you that easily, I guess.
No, that's right.
Okay. Member McSweeney, did you have a comment that you wanted to make?
Just the one you just made about them both joining us at our January meeting.
That's great. Okay. And if I may, board members, I did, with the help of Nikki, get a chance to follow up with Mr. Ward through email, and just welcome to town and let him know that we were looking forward to meeting him and, of course, working with him. So sounds like he still wants to come, even though I reached out to talk to him. But it was very kind. He wrote back quite quickly and quite a positive note. So I think I'm very optimistic about moving forward. So, Member Brown, did you have something you wanted to say?
Just again, Chair Taylor, I just wanted to wish Acting Inspector Randall all the best in her new endeavor going forward. And we've only been together for a few months here, but it's nice to get to know you. And I just personally want to thank you for the time you spent with all of us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Just it's a great comment. Nikki and I had a private conversation a couple days ago as we were prepping for this meeting, and you know, the public should be aware that Nikki was actually instrumental as we were going through the OPP costing both times and the transition as well. And yeah, I greatly appreciate your leadership, and people whom I know in the OPP speak very highly of you. So we were very fortunate to work with you in the period of time that we had you. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Nikki's husband will be glad that he no longer has to get Sunday emails from the chair of the police service department here in Orangeville. I'm a Sunday email warrior. I can't keep up during the week. Okay, so that's just great. Thank you for your report, Member Brown. Really appreciate that. Motion to receive that information, board members. Member Rose.
Oh, second, Ken?
Thank you, Ken. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so item 15 is board training. I have gone back and forth with Dwayne, board members, and I'll have something in your inboxes here, well, I don't know, very shortly, I would think, with some dates. And that was just as a reminder, we all wanted to have training, and it might be nice to have that training before we meet Mr. Ward and make sure we're prepared for how we're supposed to interact moving forward. So I'll have that done. I don't think there's a need to receive that information. So we move on to item 16. And item 16, just lost power here for a second. Item 16 speaks to the letter that we had shared with our board trustee, Gail Campbell, and that group. I know Member Rose has linked in with Gail. And she did send me a note here last night. Basically, the gist of it is that it's ongoing. They haven't arrived at a decision yet, and the date is, I think it's the end of this month, isn't it, that they're going to have it? Yeah. Okay. But she acknowledged our comments, and I guess we'll wait and see what they decide as we move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think there's anything there to receive either, which would bring us on to item 17, which is to pass any motions developed in closed session, which I don't think that we need to do. And I'll just check with our acting secretary. I don't think so.
That's correct.
Correct. Okay. And so we're on to item 18. And that is the adoption of the previous board minutes. Just as a sidebar before we do this, to the public, we, as a board, we've had some internal issues without being descriptive of what they are, but we did get behind on some board meeting minutes, and those board meeting minutes all went to council last night, and they were passed, which is great news. Two things I'd like to do. I'd like to thank Member Brown, who is also in his real job as the mayor of our town, and just the kind thoughts and comments that he had for the board as we worked through that, and in particular for you, Member McSweeney, and the work that you've done on the meeting minutes. So I'd like to thank Member Brown in his role as mayor for doing that, and we are caught up for the most part here. So we're at the point here where we would like to approve the board meeting minutes from October 20th and November 17th. Would anybody like to discuss the meeting minutes, or just would you like to put a motion forward?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please,
Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification. 18.1 is a recommendation to further defer the October 20 minutes, which have been caught in that, I'll call it a glitch that we were experiencing, the staffing glitch.
Yes.
So they are, the proposal is they will be deferred to January, and then the 18.2 is the only approval item.
Right.
Thank you. Clarity when you're running a meeting. So it's actually, you're right. So 18.1 would be deferred, and 18.2 is what we're looking for board approval for tonight.
I'll make a motion to that.
Thank you, Member Brown. Member Rose for seconding. All in favor of 18.2?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, and so this is the Dufferin POA Provincial Offensive Act. There's a document for you to all read and view, and essentially it speaks to the nuts and bolts of this thing. Is it's such a sad time because with COVID, our courts are not able to meet and process things, so there's quite a backlog, and revenue is down because of that, and the backlog of court cases is down because of that. anyway, there's nothing for us to do other than to receive the information, but I thought it was pertinent to us as board members to have this. Would anybody like to make a comment on this, or would you just like to receive the information?
I'll make a motion to receive it.
Motion to receive. Thank you, Member Brown. Member Rose, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Okay, and then these are, yes, so this is the invoices for the, this is the badges, correct? Yes, this is the encased badges and the invoices that are in here. I believe that the board gave direction to go ahead and pursue this, and now we actually have the amounts that are pertaining to this initiative, and this is the initiative to say goodbye for to the OPS members that we're in. So I guess I'm looking for approval to pay this invoice and move forward. Okay, Member Rose, Member Brown, thank you. So this is item 21.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
apologize. Just before we leave the item, can we just add to that, at our last meeting with respect to the Bell invoices, I think there was a follow-up, and I put the agenda together anticipating that you would just confirm for the board that follow-up has indicated that you're satisfied with the Bell invoices.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Member McSweeney. So I did follow up with our treasurer, and the treasurer did go through the past invoices and the details that are in it. And based on Nandini's recommendation, she says that that is historically what OPS has paid for Bell, and that it was fine to approve those amounts, and that we should go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need
Yes.
to pass anything as an acceptance of that?
No, you were, the previous minutes authorized you to approve, subject to your subsequent reporting at this meeting, which you've done. So the only thing we need to approve is the current invoice with respect to the badges.
And we've done that.
Did that.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just have the motion and second again?
It was,
Rose
Sorry.
and Brown, I think.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
And so we're on to item 21, and that is claims for special remuneration. There isn't any at this point, right? We were going to hold off for a period, I believe.
Nope, there are claims under item 20 for the note with respect to the November 24th special meeting from all of us.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's December that we'll wait until January on, correct?
That's to the extent that there are any special meetings.
If there was, right? Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Thank you.
Ken.
Thank you very much, Member Brown. Ken, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So item 22. These are items that are expected to be considered at the January 2021 meeting in the public session.
Mr. Chair, this is just a reporting item, just to keep everybody focused on what's ahead and to keep everybody informed about the current status of any outstanding minutes.
Right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to receive that.
Thank you. Member Rose,
Do we need one? Okay.
do we need a motion? I think we might as well.
Okay.
Might as well.
Yeah. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. So we're at question period. We're just past 6 o'clock. Dan, are we?
There's, through you, Chair Taylor, there's currently nobody on the line.
Okay, very good. And then 24 through 27, there is nothing to share at this time, right? Reports, there's no board reports. 27, no. So then we're on to item 28. And as I understand it, there's some items under new business that we wanted to cover off. And Member Brown, is it you speaking or is it Nikki?
No, Acting Inspector Randall has an announcement, I believe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I had thought that we wanted to discuss the issue of porch pirates in town. And I knew that we had discussions earlier and that we had been doing a public education campaign, whatnot, and for how people can protect themselves. But I would just like to let you know that after an extensive investigation, the Community Street Crime Unit and members of the Dufferin and Orangeville OPP today arrested and charged 2 people in connection with a number of incidents in town. There was a media release that was sent out this afternoon, and it should be published at some point in the local paper.
Very good. That's great. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you. We're very pleased.
Yeah, I think we are too. Member Brown, did you have
I just want to ask Nikki, was part of your education process to tell people to wrap up their dog poop in Amazon packages?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. I heard that. That's why.
That
Okay.
I had seen, I've seen and heard about that kind of thing in the past too, and I've heard of a number of different things that people were attempting to do, but realistically, the best thing that people can do is to get a notification right away as soon as it's delivered, or have it delivered to a safe place when they're home, or to a drop box location, or at a neighbor's house if possible, or at the workplace if possible, and like that kind of thing to protect yourself for sure. And it was with the assistance of a lot of local citizens calling and reporting the thefts to us and giving us as much information as they could and that they had, instrumental in this investigation. So my thanks to the community.
Very good.
It's amazing. Okay.
Member
Yeah,
McSweeney's
congratulations.
got his hand up there, Chair.
Oh,
Taylor.
thank you. Member McSweeney, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, this is just a point of order. We had this issue also on the closed agenda. So with the board's permission, what I would propose to do is include the update there as well when I'm preparing those minutes.
On the closed, you'll put item, well, the new business would go into the closed, I'm sorry? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, under Nick report.
Oh, I see.
I forget what agenda item. It was item 11 on closed. I had included porch piracy there, and that's fine. I will just include the update that we've just heard in public in both minutes.
Okay. Got it. Well, that's excellent. So, members, just before we move to adjournment, unfortunately for everyone, we didn't quite get through the closed session. So I think the best way to do this is if I just send out another agenda or a link through Teams. Maybe it's 6:10, we take just a few minutes and I'll send something out and we get back into Teams for 6:15. That would work out really well. And I don't think there's a lot left on the agenda. We just didn't quite get finished. So if we could do that.
Yep.
That would be great.
Will it be a call-in number, Todd? It's Kent. Will it be a call-in number? I need to call in for the meeting. Call in.
I think there will be, and if not, I'll send you something separately, Ken.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Just before we hang up, everyone, I'm just doing a quick check of the agenda and trying to be respectful of everyone's time, and maybe you could do the same. But I believe that we have utilized Nikki as best as we need to for this, and potentially you could go and enjoy your evening as opposed to joining us in closed session. I just want to be respectful of your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. So unless anybody else, did I read it wrong?
Mr. Chair, with respect, not so fast.
Yeah.
We did. Which item did I miss?
we still
11
need to hear
Yes,
from
we
Nikki
deferred
on
10.
the OPP command team.
Yeah.
And these are very quick items. And the Han update, who was the
Okay.
break-in bandit. And I think that was it. Those are both closed items. So Mickey, if you could just hang around for 10 more minutes, we can finish that.
Yeah, very good. So if we could get a motion to adjourn and just give me a quick second and I'll send out a link and we'll join that. So Member Brown, Member Rose, and Ken, I'll make sure you're looked after.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. See everybody in a few minutes.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.